Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Should the National Crime Agency, which is Britain's version of the FBI, only not as well funded, not as well known, not as well staffed, probably not as big, but there it is. Should that take over the Operation Branchform inquiry and show Police Scotland how it's done? We're coming up to nearly 4 years' worth of investigations, and so far very little has come from it. Obviously, Peter Murrell's been arrested and charged. He's awaiting his trial. But he's the only one, but they're still looking at other people. And they still say that there's other things to go. Who knows how long it will take? Well, George Fuchs, Lord Fuchs, come up into the House of Lords. Yes, he stood up and he asked if it would be better if the National Crime Agency went up to Scotland and showed Police Scotland how to do it, or at least, at the very least, gave them assistance and helped them out. Well, the Labour minister that's responsible, government minister, got up and said, well, yes, it's not her place to say whether they should go there or not, but if they were asked, she would be amenable to the idea of letting the National Crime Agency assist, as she put it, with Operation Branchform. Now, Ruth Anderson, this is the Labour whip in the House of Lords, she's someone who, rather surprisingly, came out and said this. This is not something you would have expected, it's simply because they don't like to interfere. It's not something they normally would have said. So the very fact that she was willing so quickly to say this, I thought, was rather surprising. Now, Fuchs, when he did talk, he talked about the various crimes. He talked about fraud. He talked about embezzlement, which are the two things that Peter Murrell has been charged with. However, he also mentioned the forging of signatures, or the copying of signatures, as he put it. But it'd be a forging of a signature, which is also, of course, a crime. And that's not one that's been mentioned before. So, look, maybe that's something that's let slip. Maybe he's used a bit of parliamentary privilege to let that one go. Makes you wonder how much he does know and how much more parliamentary privilege he may let slip. Maybe he did it deliberately. Maybe it was a slip of the tongue. But certainly, who's forging signatures? Now, I've always maintained that Kirsten Oswald seems to have, let's just say, not attracted as much attention as perhaps she should. I'm not in any way insinuating she's done anything wrong, of course. That would be wrong. But in my mind, given her position, certainly she needed to answer a lot more questions. She wasn't even arrested and questioned. And I find that very suspicious. What do they have on Swinney? What do they have on Oswald? What do they have on Cranky? What do they have on Humza Yousaf? They're talking that more people are in, people of interest, but they're not saying who. But it is that little cabal at the top, isn't there? Colin Beattie, another one. I'm surprised he hasn't been rearrested. It's all very closeted and close and very odd. And I think if an outside force had have come up on day one and done this, firstly, it would be all over now. We'd know what was going on, because an outside force wouldn't be controlled in the same way as Police Scotland is. Obviously, she had the previous Chief Constable in her pocket, and within days of the new one coming in and breaking the law, that new Chief Constable stealing from the Scottish taxpayer was immediately in the pocket of the SNP as well. So, it's hardly independent, is it? And of course, when you've got Dorothy Bain sitting in government, yeah, I don't hold my breath on this one. And I think that something like this should be supranational, and it should have gone to a higher authority, not something that can be decided at the Scottish level, but at the UK level, because the corruption potential is massive. But we shall wait and see who gets away with what, because I think we all know that certain parties are far more guilty than at first it seems. Mentioning no names, but you all know who I mean. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on this one, see what happens. Let's hope that the National Crime Agency does get involved. You'll see a little bit of worry in the eyes of some of them. Thanks a lot. by